Well, hello again, all my YouTubers, and thanks once more for joining me here at Classic Dirt Bike TV, and a very warm welcome to all my brand new subscribers to my channel. I do hope you find something here to entertain you with regards to all these vintage and classic dirt bikes. Okay, next up we're going to go back to the Robbie Allan Memorial Scramble in 2014, and we're going to take in one or two of the races from that two-day event that was held way back in July of that year. So without any further ado, let's just get straight into the racing. Yes, thanks for joining me again as we take a look at race 2 of the Sunday's Scramble event, and this is the combined pre-60 non-unit up to 650cc and the pre-65s over 250. Now it's a very good start by number 42, that's Peter Jackson. Number 1 in the yellow there, that's Terry Challoner, appears to have just taken a fall into turn 1, so your race leader is number 42, that's Peter Jackson. Second is Peter Hollinshead on the SRM BSA Twin. Third position, it looks like it's Alan Arnott as they all make their way into the turn to begin lap 1. Now look out for number 3, Andy Robertson, who I mentioned of course in the last video on that big matchless machine. So as they begin lap 1, it's still number 42, Peter Jackson, your race leader. Second is Peter Hollinshead, still in there on the SRM BSA Twin. Third position is now Andy Robertson. So Andy Robertson has moved up a few positions since this first half lap of the race, but it's Peter Jackson, your race leader, number 42. Second, Peter Hollinshead. Third is Andy Robertson. Fourth is Alan Arnott. But a very good selection of riders and bikes in this second race here at the Scramble event on the Sunday. And so as we pick up our front runners, we're looking at number 3 there, that's Andy Robertson, who is now up to second position. Peter Hollinshead is your current race leader, so it's Andy Robertson there, number 3 in second place. Peter Jackson is in third. Alan Arnott is in fourth position as the rest of the chasing pack make their way through. Dougie Meek just going through there, but here is your race leader. It's Peter Hollinshead on that lovely SRM BSA twin cylinder bike, who is your race leader. Second, looks like it's still Andy Robertson, but Peter of course a very accomplished rider and very experienced riding these old BSA bikes. Andy Robertson just going through there in second position. Peter Jackson is in third. Alan Arnott is in fourth position as the rest of the chasing pack make their way through. So we are now on to lap 3, and it looks like Andy Robertson has now passed Peter Hollinshead for the lead of this race. So it's number 3, Andy Robertson on that beautiful Rickman Matisse matchless with that G50 motor inside, a very powerful single cylinder 4-stroke machine, this bike of Andy Robertson. So second place is still Peter Hollinshead on the BSA Twin, and a lovely facility here at the Robbie Allan Tinto Moto Parc. So there is your race leader. It's still number 3, Andy Robertson, who is a vastly experienced rider and has been riding these scrambles machines for many years, since the 1960s. So just goes to show that you never lose your speed as you get older. But we're just looking at some of the other riders making their way through as we pick up our race leader once again as he crosses the line to start his last and final lap of this race. It's number 3, Andy Robertson on the Rickman Matisse Matchless, who is your race leader. Now Andy didn't have the best of starts in this race, but he's certainly come through the pack and started to open up a bit of a gap on second place man Peter Hollinshead, with Peter Jackson in third position. Now Andy Robertson there just passing number 14 there, that's Bill Gwynn on that lovely Greaves, but our race leader Andy Robertson is on his way to his first win of the day on this beautiful G50 engined Rickman Matisse Matchless. But I must admit, it's great to see these old bikes still taking part in these old classic scrambles events, and not just being tucked away in a workshop somewhere where nobody can see those beautiful bikes. And it's great to see these bikes in their natural environment here at Tinto Moto Parc. So it's a win in this race for number 3 Andy Robertson, as he comes to take the checkered flag. Now number 43 there, that's Steve Jackson, and number 40 is the famous Jim Aim. Okay, next up we're going to take a look at the Twin Shock boys, and this is the Twin Shock over 40s and over 50s race, and some very quick riders in this particular race. Look out for the likes of number 151 there, that's Walter Bickmore. We also have Paul Chiappa, who's a multiple Scottish Twin Shock champion in this race, and look out for the likes of Brian Allardyce. We also have Tom Grant riding CRF 250 Red Rocket, but a very good selection of runners and riders for this Twin Shock over 40s and 50s race. So they're under starters orders, and they lead the line, and it looks like a very good start by Brian Allardyce there at the front on that big yellow Michael. Second is Russell Watson. Walter Bickmore's also made a very good start as the rest of the pack go through. Number 68 there with the yellow wheels, that's Richie McFadden. So your early race leader is number 50 Russell Watson on that 480 Honda, who is your race leader. I think Walter Bickmore is up there in second position as we look at the rest of the riders going through. So it is in fact at number 50 there, Russell Watson, your race leader on that very quick 480 Honda. Second is Walter Bickmore on the 81 490 Michael. Tom Grant is in there in fourth position. Paul Chiappa is in there in fifth position as they head down the hill to complete lap 1. So it's Russell Watson at number 50, still your race leader in this combined Twin Shock over 40s and 50s race. Number 151 there is Walter Bickmore in second position. Tom Grant is in fourth. Paul Chiappa is still in there in fifth. Brian Allardyce is in sixth. And some very quick riders in this Twin Shock race. Now the weather here on the Sunday at Tinto was perfect, as you can see, as we had a lot of rain on the Saturday night, but it's dampened the track sufficiently to keep the dreaded dust at bay. So as they head up the hill, it's still Russell Watson on the 480 Honda leads Walter Bickmore, number 151, on that 81 490 Michael as they come round to cross the start and finish line to complete another lap. But two very quick riders in this Twin Shock race. So it's Russell Watson, number 50, your race leader. Second position is still Walter Bickmore, number 151 on the 81 490 Michael. Third is Tom Grant on that Honda 250 Red Rocket. Third is Paul Chiappa just behind him there on that 81 490 Michael. Paul Chiappa, of course, a multiple Scottish Twin Shock champion, and as far as I remember, he's won that title about 16 times that I can remember, but a very quick rider on one of these Twin Shock bikes. Number 18 going through there, that's Jim Colligan. Grant McClure also going through, but it was a win for Russell Watson in first position, with Walter Bickmore in second. Okay, next up we have the Twin Shock over 60s class and the pre-1975 class. Both these classes, of course, combined into this one race, but will be scored separately. So as they leave the line, it's a great start by number 7, Jimmy Aird there. Number 23, that's Maurice Wharton. And Bill Brown's made a very good start. Some very good experienced riders in this particular race. Joe McCrink just going down through there. Mike Barnes is also in this race. So as they come towards us, it's Jimmy Aird, number 7 on the CCM, your race leader. Second is Maurice Wharton in second position. Bill Brown going through there in 4th place. Jim Allison coming through on the CCM. Les Calderwood just making his way through. Number 12 is Mike Barnes. Some very good riders in this race also. But of course these clips are just a few highlights of the 10 races or so that were held on the Sunday, although if you'd like to see more racing from this Robbie Allan event, and just leave a comment in the appropriate section below this video. So there is your race leader just going through. It's number 7, the world famous CCM rider Jimmy Aird, riding just as good as he did back in the day. Still a very quick rider, Jimmy. Looking at some of the other riders going through, I think that 113, I think that could be Billy Chisholm just going through. Number 153 just behind him there is Jim Allison on the CCM, the 1974 CCM bike. Now that's one of the event organisers there, number 13, that's John McCrink just going through there. But it looks like Jimmy Aird is now opening up a gap to the rest of the pack. Number 66 there is Peter Lightfoot on the 81.4 and 90, and just ahead of Peter is number 23, that's Maurice Wharton. Number 12 there is Mike Barnes, of course, the famous Border Raider, as he used to be called, because Mike used to come up to Scotland and win all the races in Scotland, and he would take points off all the Scottish guys, and that's why they hung that nickname on him, the Border Raider. But that's Mike Barnes there at number 12. So Jimmy Aird is still flying around this Tinto Moto Parc racetrack, and he's beginning to open up quite a substantial gap on the second placed rider. And Jimmy, of course, had a glittering career riding for the Allen Clues CCM team, but these days he's the owner and operator of the famous Scott Leathers brand. Number 153 is Jim Allison, again on that 74 CCM bike. A very nice looking machine, and Jim, of course, one of the riders who race with the Scottish Classic Scramble Club. So it was a win for Jimmy Aird, number 7, and here we see the grandson of Robbie Allan riding his grandfather's CRF 450 Honda Paris-Dakar bike that Robbie rode to success in 2007. Okay, next up we're going to look at a short clip of the Pass Masters Parade. Now this was just a parade, it wasn't a race as such, just a parade lap for some of the older scrambling British legends that are still riding these old bikes, and this was just a short parade lap for them to let the crowd see some of the old legends from back in the day. Now there were a few household names taking part in this parade. We had the likes of Jim Aim, Jimmy Aird, of course, Vic Allen, Arthur Browning was there, Terry Challoner, Bill Gwynn was in there, Neil Hudson took part, Andy Robertson, of course, and one other legend by the name of Graham Noyce. Although there was certainly an array of talent on display here. Number 4 there with his back to us, that's the famous Vic Allen. but many of these riders didn't ride their own bikes from back in the day, and they borrowed a few of these machines just to take part in the past Masters Parade. So it was good to see these guys on the track once again, even although this wasn't in a race situation. Now, for me personally, I don't know the names of every rider that took part in this past Masters Parade. Number 4 and number 3 there. Number 4 is Vic Allen, of course. Number 3, Andy Robertson again. Now, as I mentioned, I don't know the names of all of these riders, but you may recognise them yourself. I think that's Mick Andrews going through there, number 5. But I'm sure you'll recognise them as they make their way through in this past Masters Parade lap. Number 1 there is the famous British scrambling legend Terry Challoner. But there was some real talent on show here at the Tinto Moto Parc for this past Masters Parade. Number 7 again is, of course, Jimmy Aird. But it was a fantastic weekend here at Tinto Moto Parc with between the enduro race, the trial on the Saturday night, and of course this scramble and past Masters Parade on the Sunday. It was a fantastic weekend to honour the memory of Robbie Allan. And just coming towards us there, number 40 at the background there is the famous Jim Aim, and Andy Robertson again. Vic Allen there, number 4. But as I mentioned, I don't know the names of all of these riders, but maybe you can pick out 1 or 2 that look familiar to you, because they weren't riding the bikes that they used to ride back in the day, and a lot of these riders were using borrowed bikes. But this man here is easily recognisable. Graham Noyce riding a bike without a helmet on. I'm not sure what the governing body will say about that particular instance. Now, this was another rider that was riding a borrowed bike. This is the famous Willie Wallace from Scotland, and just behind Willie, I think that's Arthur Browning just going through there on the Bultaco. But this was another very nice bike. This is Vic Allen riding a 1961 Greaves NSU. I think it's a Greaves frame with an NSU motor in the frame, but a lovely looking machine. So that was the Robbie Allan Memorial Scramble as Graham Noyce heads into the paddock to get a ticking off for not wearing a helmet. Well, I hope you enjoyed having a look at some of the racing from that Robbie Allan 2-day event that was held at Tinto Parc, of course, to honour the memory of the great man. Okay, coming up in my next video, we'll be taking a look at this very nice Honda CR480 from 1983, and this bike belongs to John Stokes, so we'll be having a walk through that particular bike in my next video posting. So once again, thank you all for continuing to subscribe to my channel, and we'll speak again very soon when we return to Classic Dirt Bike TV.